starless night, their master glancing ever upward to the skies for assurance that he is on the right course. A dim lantern his only protection against the encroaching darkness. But the skies bring no comfort, shining no light, betraying no hint of what they know. The caravan carries travelers bound for the frontier hamlet of Gilded Vale, you among them, where a local lord has offered land and wealth to settlers from abroad looking for a fresh start. You have taken suddenly ill, sweating and shivering, and one of the other travelers signals for the caravan master to stop on your behalf. He pulls up just in time to avoid plowing into the trunk of a fallen tree that bars the way ahead. You will go no further tonight.
Welcome to the Pillars of Eternity Pure Evil playthrough. The caravan master finishes addressing the group, his bushy red mustache and sagging jowls quivering as if for emphasis.
Everybody stays close to the wagons, got it? Stay out of the woods, and beasts take you if you were planning a stroll through those ruins up there.
He nods towards a looming black mass on the hillside.
Whole area's crawling with hut-dwelling types who'd be happy to stick an axe in you for trespassing. So mind that you don't track mud on their sacred blazing rocks. Tonight, everybody stays put, and in the morning we'll get the path cleared. Gilded Vale's less than a day out. Understood?
At last, the caravan master turns to you, frowning as he looks you over.
Touch of the rumbling rot, could be. There's a stinging beetle round here, carries it. You'll be fine once it passes your innards. Unless you don't drink water, course. Which case you'll be dead in a day. There's a berry grows in these parts, small and pink, called a springberry. About the size of a fingernail. Give you cramps if you eat it, but the frontiersmen make a tea from it. Calms the insides. Should get you through the night. You might check around, see if you can find some. Meanwhile, I'll see if we can scare you up some water. I know you want to hunt before it gets much darker, but see about refilling our water first. Got a sick one here.
Where can I find these berries?
They grow on a bush that's common round here, kind of funny looking. You'll know it when you see it. Doubt you'd have to go far off the road to find one.
What are those ruins?
Nothing you won't see on half the hills of Air Glonfoth. Money to be made selling their knickknacks in Defiance Bay, if you don't mind getting stuck with Glonfoth and arrows now and again. They didn't build them, but I'll be the effigy if they don't watch them like a mother bear. Of course, all the ones around here have been ransacked 10 times over. Got nothing left worth half a pawn, so I hear.
Who did build the ruins?
Got different names for them. Settlers called them Ingwithans. Nobody that liked them enough to stop them becoming ruins, tell you that much.
Is it dangerous out here?
Not if you hurry about your business. And not if the weather holds up.
What kind of weather do they get out here?
This time of year, rain mostly, and wind. But there's a different kind of wind out here time to time. Locals call it a Beowick, born out of the ether, the spirit's path. Never seen it myself, never cared to.
What are these huge rocks coming up out of the ground?
They don't got Audra where you come from? Well, it just grows up out of the ground like this. Goes deep like tree roots. Some of it all the way to the heart of the world, you believe the stories. It's more like a shell than a proper rock. Easier to work if you're a mason. Got all kinds of strange properties. Seems to have some kind of life of its own. Dies if it gets dug up. Loses its luster. Folks think it probably grew at one point or another, but not these days. The soul butchers in Defiance Bay use it for different things. I've heard tell it can hold a man's soul, but I don't care to see it. Got enough to worry about without seeing something like that.
I'll go see about those berries then.
Hold on. Take someone with you. I know you're not some helpless tenderfoot. Not like most of this lot. But you drop dead, I don't want to be looking for the body. Got a schedule to keep.
He scans over the travelers, resting his eyes at length on a sturdy armor-clad woman who has spent the journey nights sleeping on uneven ground without blanket or pillow.
Kalisha. Kalisha! He needs to find some springberries. Watch that he doesn't drop dead.
no promises.
What kind of guide says something like that?
Kind you can afford.
Don't listen to her. You're in good hands. And I pay too well, if anything. Off with you. Hayden should have supplies. See that you're equipped before you head out. We're in harsh country. Get your berries and hurry back. And if you get so much as a tickle of wind, you drop everything and you run. Something in the air tonight. If it's a Beawick, we'll shelter in the ruins. Hut dwellers be damned.
You heard the man. Let's get going before you keel over.
As you wish.
You see a man, wearing simple but mostly neat clothes. He's transfixed, however, by a ragged tear in the seam of his
Got
tunic.
a whole wagon full of goods to sell, but not enough shirts for the road. Say, is there anything you need? I've got some basic traveling supplies for sale if you'd like to take a look.
Let's see what you've got. Odemus said you were some kind of colonist before. Odemus said you were some kind of colonist before coming here. If that's the case, you'll fit right in. Whole country's a bunch of colonists. You like the frontier life or what? I was there to pacify the land and the people who were native to it. Yeah? How's it you happen to come here? Some of the natives didn't take so kindly to our efforts. They burnt down our settlement. No offense, but you probably had that coming. They say the gods see that each man gets his due. Don't know if I believe that, but they do seem to have gotten the better of you. Bitch. Been a long time since I've been this way, but I always did like it. Lord Raedric's offer makes a girl think. I'll give him that. You here to settle like the rest of us? No, I'm passing through. That's usually the case with the big city just a little ways further up the road. Where you headed? Somewhere I can make some money. May your luck be better than mine. Anyway, I'm wasting time here. Odama will give me an earful. Let's be on our way. Let's go. You know, I wouldn't hold my breath that Sparfell's getting you water anytime soon. He does what he feels like when he feels like it. We should meet up and check on him first, slap him around a little. Stream's just down that way. Alright. If I remember correctly, though... God damn it, go away, tutorial. I think there was... Nope, there was not.
Shouldn't stray too far.
Shut the fuck up.
What a surprise. Sparfel went hunting.
You crouch at the riverbank and dip your water skin into the cool water while Kaliska waits nearby, keeping watch. As you rise, you notice her look up sharply towards the tree line. Out of the trees emerges Sparfel, one of the guides, barely discernible in the dim moonlight. He no longer carries his bow, and there's a strangeness to his gait, his stride wobbly as he moves towards you with labored breath.
Sparfel? Are you alright?
Sparfel's toe catches on a rock and he collapses forward in a heap, the feathered shaft of an arrow planted between his shoulders like an enemy flag. All around you lie the massacred remains of the other travelers, peppered with arrows and knife hilts. blade and bug-eyed and filthy. Kaliska points the back of her left hand to her mouth as if to ward away some poisonous vapor. A handful of dark figures stands above the fallen, treading on limbs and backs and heads, jerking their axes from bodies as if from half-split logs. One of them, towering and severe with a thick beard tasseled with knots, holds a wet blade at the neck of the man you recognize as Heoden, the last of your caravan left standing. Lay down your arms, trespasser. Don't forfeit this man's life for a fight you will lose. Where's my attack him option? I don't give a shit about their lives. You will try to kill us all either way. Why make it easy? The man gives a bit of a sideways nod of his head, perhaps acknowledging the astuteness of your response. Many things may happen. The only one you can be sure of is that if you hold your weapons, I will drain his blood upon the ground. So I say again, lay down your arms. Why don't I just have an attack option? Oh, I do, right there. Rush the man before he can react. Your surprising speed catches the man off guard. He hurls Heoden out of the way in hopes of buying himself time to defend your charge. Blinding strike. This one. And this one. Well then. That was well. Your enemy lies supine on the ground, unable to rise, his companions now silent among the other dead. His breath comes in wheezing, fitful gasps. He looks not at you, but at the sky above you. Forgive us. Barely audible beneath his choked sighs. A whisper of wind stirs the air. At this, the man's eyes roll back as he closes them. Good, good. The gods are just. I am ready. The wind begins to swell, whipping around the camp, electric and volatile, upending pots and rattling tents like an angry spirit. You can feel it begin to seep beneath your skin, and where it pierces you, it feels as though it is rending you apart from within. Seated against a wagon wheel amidst the howling maelstrom, slashed across chest and bowel, Odima's body stirs, and with great effort he raises his sagging head, his eyes barely open. He looks directly at you.
Get inside! Run!
Stringing against a gale that threatens to pull you off of your feet with every step, you set your hands in the worn folds of a weathered rock and set about pulling yourself up the precipice. With the last burst of energy before your arms give out, you swing yourself upon the ledge. Heoden trails behind, slowed by injury and delayed by hesitation. As he nears the face of the rocks, one of the fallen attackers, who had been feigning death, lunges for Heoden and topples him onto the rocky ground. Restrained, Heoden lashes out against his fatigued assailant, but struggles to break his hold. They are close to you. Despite the wind, from your position, if you were to throw your weapon at the attacker, you would have a good chance of hitting your mark. No, he can handle his own problems. With wresting free of the attacker's grip, Heoden lands a blow that sends the assailant reeling, and he makes a mad dash for the ledge upon which you stand. Suddenly, as he reaches for the rock face, his body jerks back and is rigid as though it were a bow being strung. His shrieks of pain grow panicked, abandoned of all restraint, like someone tethered to a stake and set aflame. A slender wisp of spectral light emerges from his back, rising out of him like smoke before separating itself and disappearing into the ether. All at once, his screams stop, and Heoden is dead. There is a deep resonance to the wind now. You feel it in the rocks beneath your feet and inside the cavity of your own chest, as though it would shake the marrow from your bones. Each new gust menaces the old stones before you, loosening connections, unsettling balances. As you dart beneath the old archway, the entire portal begins to fall beneath its own weight.
We have to be careful in here. Place has been open to the wilds for a couple thousand years. Might be a lot of vermin taking shelter here. 4-legged if we're lucky. 2 if not.
What happened out there? Windstorm. Alright, windstorm. Of a kind they only get in Eir Glenfath. Not too many people live through them, so it's hard to know what's true. The Glenfathan word is Biawak. To them it's the gods' way of reaping the souls of the land that couldn't find their own way out. But they'll take a living soul as soon as their dead one. Still got yours?
Look for another way out. Storm has to die sometime.
Let's get going. A trembling, sickly creature emerges from the dark, clutching a spear. Knobby elbows and thin ribs show through its scaly flesh, but you recognize it as a Zorip. It watches you curiously, breathing in ragged sighs. I'll tear you to pieces, lizard. It narrows its eyes and hisses at you. It lunges. This small folio is torn in several places, and blood is soaked into several of the sheets. One later entry is still legible, however. I can't believe my luck. A few rounds of dice, and I've got my hands on a genuine Ingwithan artifact. Fellow had it said it was pretty nothing as far as he's concerned. He's not willing to go digging in some ruins. But if he's right about the gem leading to a hidden treasure, then that's worth sneaking past a few painted elves. I'll head to Slant Lee in the morning, then it's just a matter of finding this relief he was talking about. A crack runs along this wall, from floor to ceiling, a light gust of air passing through. Use a hammer and chisel. You set to work. The cracks lengthen and widen with your efforts, but the process is more taxing than you'd expected. Sweat begins to bead on your forehead, and the muscles begin to ache. After several long moments, you begin to see light. With one final tap, several blocks of stone shift, then tumble loose. You break your hammer and chisel. A viscous slick of something dark and tar-like runs down the wall. The shapes and bulges in the ooze suggest that something lies beneath it, but you can't tell what. You rinse the ooze away, revealing an intricate relief of a man's face. The sunburst surrounding it is chipped away in places, but the details of the head, from the tight curls of hair to the ridges of his pointed ears, still showcase remarkable craftsmanship. One eye socket is empty. A gem fills the other. Place the gem in the eye socket. The chamber begins to rumble, stray rocks dancing across the tile floor. Finally, a large section of the wall gives way. You've lost an item, Ingwithan Relief Gem. Four figures stand before an otherworldly apparatus, an ancient structure of chiseled Audra and metallic veins, ominous and looming like a silent observer. Standing motionless in their midst is what appears to be a human body, colorless as stone or ash. The other figures gaze upon it in what might be contemplation. From your vantage point, you are well obscured from their view. The figure closest to the machine stands out among them. A thick gray beard frames a face otherwise hidden beneath this metallic mask. His faded robes are embroidered with a runic language unlike anything you have ever seen, and he wears a strange black headdress with two protrusions that jut out like the wings of some malevolent creature.
Oathbinder, bear witness, and see this man has kept his word true to his last breath, full to his blood's last drop. Guide his soul, queen that was, and regard it among your favored. Let his life by the key be his confession. Let his death by the key be his absolution. May he walk the world ever free of the crushing weight of the book. Your brother has done his part, and you have seen the power of his contribution. I will accept no further hesitation from the rest of you. In the sight of the queen that was, will you fulfill the oath? Will you take your place beside your brother in the endless esteem of her memory that is without flaw? Step forth, and be assured of the great worth of your life's course.
For an instant, the apparatus goes quiet and the air is still. Then, all at once, it erupts with a concussive surge. Light floods your vision, and you are knocked to the ground. Your head snaps back as you land, and pain wells into the back of your skull, washing your last thoughts away into the black unconscious void. You open your eyes to a different place, another time. You stand in a circular room, grand and domed, its walls lined with Audra and trimmed with copper. The style is ancient, but the chamber is unweathered. At the far end, a great pillar of Audra pierces the floor from below, its shimmering texture giving the illusion of boundless depth. Encircling the pillar is an apparatus much like the one you have just seen, but immense and multifaceted and intertwined. Your thoughts are yours and not yours, and they seem to exist before you think of them, and they are all questions, pressing questions, troubling questions, questions that must be answered, or... At the base of the pillar now, you see a man with a thick gray beard and a ceremonial robe, crowned with strange ornamental headdress. You know this man. You're walking towards him now at a pace that is hurried while trying not to appear so. You have something you want to ask him, one question above all, and the question spins madly in your mind. You awaken to find your malaise is broken, only to be replaced with something far more concerning. Faint whispers are audible at the edge of your hearing, like a ringing in your ears that does not subside. Movement flits through your periphery, but when you turn to look, you can see no sign of whatever it was. You find your gaze regularly darting this way and that, an involuntary paranoid tic. If this is a sickness, it may be dangerous to go without treatment for long. The figures at the machine stand frozen in place, flesh and blood replaced by cinders and ash. The man who led them is nowhere to be seen. You find Kaliska lying prostrate a short distance away. Blood pooled beneath her head, no breath escapes her lips. You are alone and far from help. Gilded Veil may be your best hope of receiving treatment before things get worse. Okay, that was part 1. As you can see, I'm not playing this on a high difficulty. I'm not really caring about the combat. This is a story playthrough. We're going to make all the evil decisions. We're going to kill everybody. And we're going to end this game as the villain.